My bad. There's actually one other thing I meant to talk about, and I totally ran out of space on that video because my phone says you get about 26 minutes and 35 seconds. Cut off. Okay, so this is the thing. When Twitter was bought out by Elon Musk and they panicked, they locked their systems so that their users could not get in and delete things that shouldn't be deleted or add things that shouldn't be added. They locked out all of their employees from their code. At the same time, what we come to find is all of these accounts with their changes in user numbers, things are becoming visible that weren't before. Tim Pool was mentioning as if it's been a decade since Twitter has suggested to him anything to do with skateboarding. It's always been top political bullshit news the whole time, and it turned out that most everything that it was pushing at him was junk anyway, right? So here's the thing. The tail end of the last video, I mentioned the shadow campaign to save the election, as it were, right? And this is a Time Magazine article I'm referencing. I'm not making specific claims of any type or anything like that because there is monitoring and curation, whether by person or by algorithm, on the YouTube platform that is the same as what has been going on at Twitter. Now, the difference is Twitter is predominantly controlled by Saudi interests, whereas YouTube is predominantly controlled via Google and Alphabet company by Chinese interests. So there's conflict between the two, but they do mostly the same thing. So the thing is, about the time that the free speech platform, the public square for modern social, economic, political, cultural dialogue, right? Twitter has simply become that because it's the one that the most people use. So you have the most common ground for people to speak on. The instant that came under private ownership and ceased to be the censorship and propaganda platform that it has verifiably, factually been for who knows how long, honestly. Certainly back to 2016, 2015, at the real official onset of Smith modernization. Oh, did I mention that there's an attorney named Baker who is on Twitter's board of directors or its legal team that worked for a prominent and ultra baby blood drinking corrupt political candidate who ran for president in 2016. And that candidate had an attorney tell somebody else to lie about something to help kickstart FBI investigations into what turned out to be a complete fabrication. Works for Twitter now, right? All those motherfuckers are getting fired, though. That's going to be cool. Vijaya Gadde, the chick that was the lawyer with, what's his name? Jack Dorsey, the founder, the former CEO of Twitter, right? They went on Joe Rogan. Tim Pool was on there. They had that whole conversation about bias and censorship and the idiots from Twitter, these billionaire morons were like, well, we don't have a bias. Everyone around us agrees with us. Therefore, that's what normal people think. And it's like, that's not how it works, and that's not the truth. And, of course, then Elon Musk had posted a meme of the Rogan logo in the center. If you've seen the four-way circle meme, the circular logic meme, Tim Pool says, hey, Twitter has or here's an example of Twitter's left-wing bias. And then this retarded attorney says something about, well, you know, we're going to have to examine the context, and I think maybe it's not as biased as you think. And then Tim says, okay, but your context is clouded by your bias. Well, I'm going to need an example of that. Circle repeats, right? Here's an example. Well, what it really comes to is, if you want to go by population demographics, total number of actual people. Now, this does not include maybe people that have been brainwashed and believe themselves to be something that they're not. But the reality is that of the entire human population, roughly 10% of them are homosexual. Might be another 5% to take a full half of the demo and say that fully half as many just don't say nothing. 10%-ish of the entire population, right? That's your L's, your G's, and your B's. Now your T's, though, of that 10%, I believe it's like 1/100%. Now here's where I'm coming with this with the definition. Talk to real trans people. Don't take white women on Facebook or Twitter making arguments that they know nothing about, sharing articles that contain lies, okay? Talk to real trans people. Real trans people will tell you, unless you're diagnosed with gender dysphoria, you're not trans. So we got the alphabet line with the ever-increasing number of letters and people that want their inclusion. And you know what? That's cool. Nobody should be discriminated against. It doesn't matter what portion of the demographic they make up. People's is people's, right? Okay, I get that. I agree with that. But by the same token, if you have, out of the entire total population, like 1/100% demographic, roughly comes out to about 40,000 people, which is incidentally about how many people left Twitter the day that Elon Musk bought it, went to that other lefty platform, right? I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying that's about the same number of people, though. It is such a tiny demographic that to say for inclusivity, we must delete 30 million accounts to make these 40,000 people feel comfortable is backwards. Now, these 40,000 people can block 30 million others if they like. But the point of the platform is as many users as possible because this generates as much ad revenue as possible. This generates as much share value as possible for those shareholders whom the board, who makes all the decisions about what goes on in the whole company, have that aforementioned in the previous video, contractually, fiduciary obligated duty to the best interest of the shareholders, which means 40,000 people that aren't happy can fuck straight off because the company will make infinitely more money from having these 30 million people be on the site. I'm not saying those 40,000 should fuck off. I'm just saying they can. And the 30 million people don't like it, they can fuck off too. And they have. But the reality is to say that their platform globally will be more inclusive to make sure that these folks over here are happy and comfortable and not a problem, cool. But what happened in the conversation with Tim and Jack and Vijaya was the idea that what they were considering to be an unbiased, even-handed approach was in fact alienating 30 million to make 40,000 feel comfortable, which was flatly the opposite, a total contradiction to the company policy and goals, which in that conversation were also laid out by their former CEO and his attorney. So they don't even realize that they're double speaking on that. It's like, saying that you are fully against hate speech and you are fully for inclusivity. Oh wait, no. Let me stop that. It's basically the same thing as saying that racism is bad and then immediately discriminating against someone because of their skin color, but justifying it because that person that you're discriminating against is white, right? It's that kind of thing. It's backwards. And if you think that such an idea is logical or reasonable or whatever, you're not thinking it through. You are simply following with the crowd. There are consequences to people's lives and not just somebody's feelings on the internet. A lot of people get very confused because of what using a device right up in your business with a virtual connection to everything and what that does to your psyche is something else. So, here's my point on making this second video. I'm sorry for all the excess context. About the same time that Twitter was bought by Musk and the censorship mask dropped and the revelation of the years and years of quarterly fraudulence against their value as presented to their shareholders, which means that Musk bought $54.20 per share of a company that was at the time worth like $33.60 or $36.40 or something. But the truth is those numbers were based on share values, based on user numbers, quarterly reports for the last several years, which have been fraudulent, which means actually if they were to adjust for the reality, Twitter probably was only worth about 15 or 20 a share. Musk paid more than double what the actual worth. This is like saying, well, this car books for 10,000. Bro, that car is nothing but rust. I'll give you $2,000. Well, but it's worth 10,000, and this guy says he's going to buy it for 15. Like, okay, dude. So the dude buys it for 15, and then come to find out it's all rust. Oh, I should have paid 2,000 for this. This all happens, right? Same day as the quarterly fraud is exposed. The Department of Homeland Security, which was only created as of 2001, after that event with the planes supposedly hitting the towers, the free fall collapse into their own footprint of 4 buildings, even though only 2 planes hit. After that, they passed a hideous law that basically was unconstitutional, but who's gonna go after the government for violating its own rules? They established a new government branch, a new intelligence apparatus called the Department of Homeland Security, and we're going to make sure that the fatherland, the homeland, is safe and secure, right? The guy that is currently in charge of that department created a new branch of that department. And the new branch of that department is called, the Disinformation Governance Board. And what people are calling it is the Ministry of Truth. What does that mean? In 1984, the novel by George Orwell, the main character, Winston Smith, works for the Ministry of Truth under Big Brother's ultra-totalitarian government, where every inch of every residence and street and business is monitored by video and sound. You cannot turn off the propaganda screens. And they have secret traps that are stings that are meant to ensnare potential revolutionaries and get them out of the way. The Ministry of Truth that this gentleman, Winston Smith, works for, its purpose is to determine what is and is not true and to filter and sift and govern for all within the country so that they only receive what the government declares as truth. And so the description in the beginning of the book is basically that Winston sits there and he gets an order that says, okay, you are to edit this person out of this picture as if they never existed. And once you complete that, you burn the old one. And then you program yourself to understand that they never existed. As soon as he's done with it, he's like, oh, who was that? They didn't exist. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff about the inner monologue workings of a person who's been completely demoralized and then brainwashed into cognitive dissonance to where they are double thinking. They are hating everything on the inside and on outwardly, like, I love Big Brother. Thank you, Big Brother. They would talk about things like, my favorite example is when Big Brother, the government, reduced chocolate rations for the citizens from 15 grams to 10 grams daily or weekly or whatever their amount was. And the news comes out and says everyone is hereby ordered to vocally give thanks to Big Brother for increasing the chocolate ration from 15 to 10. And then all those people said, oh, thank you, Big Brother, for the great increase. I'm so glad I'm getting more. Even though their minds know, wait a minute, this is less. And they shut up about it because they don't want to get thrown in jail, re-educated, or killed. So the Ministry of Truth is the government branch devoted to creating and disseminating propaganda, as well as taking existing information, editing inconvenient things out that the government decides must be edited out, and then redistributing the new truth as truth, even though it's propaganda. So, you have a government bureau now created to look out for misinformation and disinformation to make sure that the wrong information does not get spread around. Well, okay, so here's the problem, though. The people who were crowing about misinformation and disinformation in the mainstream were the ones who were propagating it. So naturally, they appointed a lady who's famously an enormous Harry Potter fan. She's in a cover band or whatever, a group that are called the Moaning Myrtles. And these are the nerdy pale brunette chicks, apparently, because that's what this chick is. Seen her sing some ridiculous shit. This lady that is now in charge of determining what is and is not disinformation as far as the government's concerned and its need to disseminate that to the public, these poor 250 million idiots in this country that just, goddamn, nobody can seem to figure out what's real and what isn't without the government's help, you know? Number one, this lady is a huge Harry Potter fan. I'm not even an enormous Harry Potter fan. I've seen most of the movies. I've not read a single one of the books. However, I do know who the fuck Dolores Umbridge is. And Umbridge thought she was doing the right thing while she was committing heinous evil. She believed that she was right. So let's take a look at this lady now, right? Harry Potter ironies aside. There was a dossier that was started by Republicans who did not like Donald Trump running for president. They were afraid he was going to mess with their elite billionaire corruption club, apparently. When he gained the presidential nomination, this dossier was passed on to the Democratic Party, who passed it on to the candidate that year. And that candidate illegally funded the acquisition of attempts to smear a political rival in an election from foreign government sources, which is precisely what they accused Trump of. And the thing is that the dossier that was used to try and accuse Trump was 100% false. Nothing in it was true. It was all bullshit. The lady that is now the head of the Ministry of Truth, the Disinformation Governance Board, believed that that was real. She repeated frequently that that was real. This dumb bitch cannot figure out what's true or not, but she's in charge of the government telling us what's true or not. At the same time, she insisted, and still does to this day, that the verified and turns out to be all too real laptop, formerly owned by son of the current president, when he was at the time son of the vice president, containing all sorts of emails, records, information, pictures of naked underage girls engaged in sex acts with the son of the vice president while everybody is smoking crack on camera. She said that was Russian disinformation, but the Russian disinformation in that dossier was real. You see how backwards, how wrong that is? So, the reason I'm mentioning this Ministry of Truth thing in relation to Twitter is that you had Musk says, hey, I'm going to buy 9% of Twitter. Twitter goes, ah! Musk goes, boy, you guys really don't, but free speech. And they canceled the Babylon Bee for making satire jokes that were a little too close to home. And if you're canceling people for making jokes that are too close to home, you're a totalitarian piece of shit and you need deposed. You need tortured, kept alive, so that your execution is a release. So anyways, the reason I mention this is Musk buys a chunk. Oh my God! Musk says, what the fuck is wrong with you people? They're like, you're a fucking Nazi. You're for propaganda. No, I'm here for free speech. Okay, I guess I'll buy the whole fucking company then. Everybody at Twitter panics. Turns out, the board of directors at Twitter holds a grand total combined. Like 12 people hold 77 shares. I think Jack Dorsey's on the board. He is the majority shareholder with like 10. What the fuck? These guys sold out their shares, but they stayed on the board of directors with no financial investment in the company? How long has this been going on? Let's put kindergarten teachers in charge of the New York Stock Exchange. Let's put, the kids that work the drive-thru in the Saturday afternoons at the restaurant or, like the food court at the mall or that kid that never, ever gets the order right when they're packing it up and they're just like, why does this fucker still work here, Let's put those people in charge of the companies they work for, the ones that know absolutely nothing and don't have any kind of financial interest in it. Let's do that, right? So anyways, Musk buys a chunk. Everybody panics. Everybody talks shit to Musk. Musk says, you know what? Fuck you, I'm buying it all. Buys the whole thing. Panic, panic, panic. And on top of panic, they lock the system so that nobody can delete the evidence. Elon Musk bought evidence is basically what that is, right? Evidence of fraud, evidence of propaganda, evidence of government collusion with private big business to control election outcomes, to control news narratives, to control the minds, thoughts, and beliefs and feelings of you and I. And Elon Musk appears to have just stuck his dick in it and fucked it all up. Cool. Awesome. That's great. Just as soon as we come to find out that they've been fucking with their user numbers and they've been lying to their investors for years, just at the same time as everyone's unlocked from the shackles of censorship, briefly, momentarily, I felt like this couldn't last long, right? That's why I haven't opened to Twitter yet myself, because I'm just waiting for that other shoe to drop. But in the meantime, what happened was they opened up. People were able to say whatever the fuck they wanted to say on Twitter. They could talk about what actually happened in the 2020 election now over on Twitter. So they are. That's the thing that the government and these corporate fuckturds never wanted anyone to do, was to be able to openly speak about what actually happened, because they want people to believe the lies instead. Look at the result of these lies. Look at the inflation. Look at the job numbers. Look at the international community, the situations. Look at these motherfuckers telling you that you need to support some goddamn Nazis. When the reality is you've already seen all my Ukraine is for Grifters videos. That country is not only populated and run by racists and Nazis, it is the money laundering banana republic for the corrupt pieces of shit who were influencing all of our minds and our election outcomes via the news and the propaganda by illegally collaborating with the private big business to control those narratives and our minds. So, just as soon as free speech became available on Twitter, the government immediately said, hey, look, guys, we're creating a disinformation governance board because we're concerned that disinformation may circulate on Twitter, and the government's job will now be to make sure that that can't happen, or that people know what the real truth is. I should not have to repeat that these are the same people who were just involved in doing exactly what they now claim they're going to fight. That's the purpose of the second video. I'm sorry it took this long to get to. It is no surprise to me that such a thing would happen. In the meantime, there's some kind of an inquiry thing happening in Canada that I haven't really looked into. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police decided that they were not going to prosecute their prime minister for corruption because their concern was that it would not be in the public's best interest to remove a dictator. It would not be in the public's best interest to remove a dictator. Canadians. Boogaloo your fucking government already. Get rid of your mounted police. Get rid of your parliament members. Get rid of all your cabinet ministers. Get rid of them. And I don't mean elect new ones. I mean, get rid of them. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. How many countries are doing this? In your country, you should. Yeah, man, totally. I agree. It should also happen here. Look at who's in charge. Look at what they're doing. Why is this being allowed to continue? Because most people are fucking afraid to do anything about it. So anyways, on one hand, it seems like free speech on the actual personal end of things, of people saying, no, this is what we want. This is what they're pushing for. And at the same time, on the other hand of it, you've got the government saying, we're going to tell you what is and is not true now. It's a very, very perilous time that we're actually living in. So most people are completely distracted. They're watching things like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, which, I mean, it's an important case because there are a lot of crazy bitches that will accuse their man of things for sympathy from others, or so that because they were the one who committed infidelity and or the abuse, they want people to dog on the victim so that they can smokescreen, get away, and move on to the next phase of their life where they find a new supply and attempt to ruin someone else's life. So anyways, that's about all I got for this one. If you're still here, thank you for watching. Just as an aside to mention with the Depp and Heard thing, this Johnny Depp Amber Heard business began about the same time kind of thing as when my marriage started to fall apart. And my ex is one of the biggest Johnny Depp fans. And my ex was following what Amber Heard was accusing him of and saying, that's bullshit. She can't do that. She's fucking crazy. And then, shortly after this whole ordeal with them was happening in the news, she found her excuse to make me look bad and Smokescreen and Jet. Which it turns out was basically the same thing as what Amber did to Johnny. I thought that was a little bit ironic. So anyways, yes, we are being distracted from the reality on one hand. We are being lied to on another hand. And on a further other hand, there are people that seem to be attempting to secure freedom again. The reality is every single person needs to secure the means to secure their own freedom. And then once we are enough of us, we secure our freedom by preventing and or removing tyranny. It's going to have to happen. It's going to have to happen. You remember just 3 months ago, we were talking about national divorce. We were talking about civil war. We should all band together rather than fight each other because they've set us against each other to weaken us.